not being able to control our outcomes, not being able to control life, as well as have compassion and unconditional love and appreciation for all that is and how we're connected to everything. And it is a beautiful flow. This new moon is the precursor to life-changing fated events that are coming with eclipse season in March. But for now, we have a new moon in Pisces, which is more than 15 degrees from the node, so that is why it is not considered an eclipse, yet it is in the sign of Pisces where the eclipse axis is currently ongoing. Eclipses do have an effect for a whole month before and a whole month after. The first one comes on March 14th. So we are in eclipse season, and here we have this new moon. I'm going to tell you why this new moon packs an extra punch, beyond that it is involved in the Pisces energy, which is so potent right now. Listen to this general reading for the full understanding of what this new moon brings and what opportunities you have here around this time. And then the sign by sign will give you an idea of how it's showing up in your life. Check your sun, moon, and rising to get a full understanding of how this is showing up for you. At 9 degrees Pisces and 4:44 p.m., we have this new moon taking place on February 27th. When we have a new moon in Pisces, this represents a new step towards experiencing more unconditional love, more connection to everything that is, moving through the discomfort of knowing that engaging with life sometimes means grieving and disappointment and loss. At the same time, when we can connect and just be with the more unpleasant feelings of life, we get to experience more love. This is an opportunity to move towards what truly is unconditional. I don't mean unconditional love in the romantic sense here, though this is absolutely possible. I'm referring to unconditional love for the human experience and everything that exists. We have had Mars retrograde since December, and really it slowed down in the fall. Ever since then, there has been internal frustrations for most people that have had us questioning a lot of things in life, maybe creating more gaps in ourselves and other people, because it's so easy to project that frustration outward that someone else has done something to us, and most likely they have. The purpose of a Mars retrograde, especially in Cancer, which represents our emotions, family connection, what is deep down in our inside world. And Mars retrograding in Cancer and Leo, this is really about dealing with our emotions and understanding the origin of where our beliefs have come from when it comes to our families and our places of origin, and how that has influenced our perspectives, how we deal with frustration, how we deal with conflict, how we deal with differences of opinions, how we deal with our own emotional turmoil. Mars has just stationed direct, and it is in beautiful trine to Saturn and Mercury, as well as we have Jupiter in Gemini squaring the moon. What this means is that Saturn and Mercury are in Pisces, trying to create more structure and longevity through communication, through intellect, which is Mercury, through being able to transmute our intellect into vocabulary that reaches other people, or that is more intuitive, that is from something beyond us, and that is then going to connect more with the masses. So Mars moving direct, and the work that we have done on our internal emotional selves, or with our families, or whatever it is that's going on with frustration and motivation and inspiration for you, passion, your drive. This trine with Saturn and Mercury can bring more of an intuitive influence to how you manage things, more unconditional love behind the way that you resolve conflicts or even approach them. The potential challenge with the square between this moon and Jupiter is that Jupiter in Gemini is an energy where we can be too much in our minds. The cerebral ability to make sense of things and generate ideas and take ideas from other people, this can just be too cerebral for Pisces energy. Because Jupiter represents our spiritual beliefs, this is a potential for people around us or ourselves to become on really strong with our spiritual mental beliefs. Yet Pisces is all about embodying and feeling through on an intuitive level. This square tension during this moon could create opportunities that come about that are designed to make us feel more and get out of our heads. So you may encounter someone that is really high on their ideas or very certain about how they're coming across, sometimes a little over the top, and this could be an energy of mentally embodying their spiritual beliefs or their concepts about the world, but not feeling it. However the situations are showing up, it is an opportunity for us to reflect on how we can embody our beliefs. We don't need to necessarily express them from a place of cerebral processing and understanding or forcing other people to believe in the same things we do, or forcing our ideas anywhere, really. When we are strong in our ability to connect with the energy behind what is actually going on, we do see through a more compassionate lens. I don't know where I saw this one recently or heard it. It is not mine, but I think it's so helpful for this particular energy. When we do something wrong, we judge ourselves based on our intentions, and when other people do something wrong, we judge them based on their actions. Which goes to say that we could do the same action as someone else, but we justify it because our intention was in the right place. And when we watch somebody else do the same thing, driving mistakes as an example, which I think is such a good one. When we make aggressive driving actions that potentially disrupt traffic, we are very justified in it. But if somebody else does it, it's a little harder to swallow. That is a Jupiter square Saturn and Mercury in Pisces. Mars is now in a healthier energy. Mars is now moving direct, building momentum again. That means that instead of all this inward spiraling, we have an opportunity to take action in an outward way again. You may have found that the last few months since the beginning of December have been hard to get things done. That maybe progress just isn't going the way we hoped. Mars direct on February 23rd is the green light, and as the weeks go by, that Mars is going to get stronger and stronger, and we are going to feel like our action is actually going somewhere. So back to this trine with Mars to Saturn and Mercury. This is going to be the more positive expression of Mars and communication and this longevity with Saturn involved. We have learned something over the last few months, and this is an opportunity to put it into helpful action, especially when it comes to communication. This could create a ripple effect of things that really last and really start to go well with tapping into this place where we have compassion and acceptance for everything that is, where we can hold space. Jupiter in Gemini can challenge our idea of where we hold space for dualities. And with Pisces, the duality we're talking about is, can we hold space for grief and loss and disappointment and not being able to control our outcomes, not being able to control life, as well as have compassion and unconditional love and appreciation for all that is and how we're connected to everything and that oneness, and the fact that it is a beautiful flow. It is wonderful that we can sometimes let things be and flow as they are without too much active work and control. Mars is giving us the green light to assert ourselves, though, in whichever way is appropriate. And because of the last 3 months, we have a new idea of how to approach things in a way that are going to work for us. If you would like to hear more about Neptune and all of the planets that we have in Pisces right now, we have Neptune, North Node, Mercury, Saturn, and the Sun and the Moon at the moment of this new moon. And then we are about to have eclipses here. This Pisces part of our charts is so lit up. If you would like to know more about Pisces energy, check out an interview with MOSHE WOLFE in the description below on what is coming with Neptune and Pisces, and as it moves to Aries and then back into Pisces this year. This is a big Pisces year, and whichever place in your chart this is showing up, this is a really big deal. This is an opportunity for a lot of change and energy to unfold over this year and next year too. So whatever shows up in your life right now, take the opportunity to deepen trust in the process, to have unconditional love for this process that is sometimes hard to love, and an opportunity to sink deeper into the energetic connection between all of us. This is great energy for meditating, spending time alone. Pisces is the energy of seclusion and being removed from society. This is the 12th house where we sleep and rest. So for Aries, that'll be strong for you, but for other signs, there'll still be an area of your life that could use some rest and could use some floating into the abyss type of energy. Thank you so much for being here, liking, subscribing, commenting with me in the comments below. It really means so much. I will link my 2025 planners and booking website link in the description below. But I'll tell you a little bit more about the planners, that they are every 2 weeks a general new moon and full moon reading that is using electional astrology to help guide you in what moves to make every month. And when it's an opportunity to initiate something, these are great for business owners. That's what I originally designed them for, but they are useful for everybody who just wants a sense of when to push forward and when to take a break, and much, much more. There's some Mercury info in there. It is an 18-page write-up for each sign that I have gone through and done chart readings every 2 weeks. And I give a snapshot of what that looks like under the light of the moon cycle and how to best work with it. Now let's get into your sign. Hi Aries. This is a 12th house new moon for you. So this is a new beginning when it comes to 12th house Pisces topics. This is overseas, time away from the world, retreat, rest, psychic activity, your intuition. A square from your 3rd house with Jupiter. This moon could bring a loss around transportation, vehicles, neighbors, cousins, siblings, short distance travel, commuting, communication. There could be something here that creates a challenge for you where you're forced to connect more with what is beneath the physical, what is out there when it comes to our energetic and spiritual connections. The 12th house can cover loss and dissolvings. I don't see this being a death or a terrible loss by any means. There's no Pluto or 8th house activation, but something that wasn't working could dissolve. This is ultimately going to bring you a better connection with whatever you consider to be divine and unseen. Some of you could be going overseas and having a retreat or a vacation. It's a wonderful time to do that if you feel called to. Venus is in your sign, Aries, so that is having you feeling and looking good. She is about to go retrograde and spend a very extended period of time in Aries, and I have all of that detail for you in my Venus video. I will link that in the description below. That talks about the bigger Venus transit that is going on. For today, I'll just mention that you have a lot of that positive energy happening, so a great time to be seen, get new haircuts. You are going to be revising your style under this Venus retrograde. You are going to be revising how you come across in the world. You might be tapping into an intuitive sense about it. You might be tapping into a more authentic connection with yourself through understanding the energy behind things. And I like to think of Venus in the first house as an upgrade in our physical appearance and what we project outward is a new match for the internal transformations and changes that we've been making. This is especially true for you around this new moon. Communication could be misunderstood with a Jupiter square from your third house, but this is a great opportunity to get marketing material overseas or have conversations with clients overseas or people overseas. This is a great time to add intuition to your marketing material and your writing. If you have a writing project, you are going to feel divinely guided and inspired for your projects. Wonderful time to take time out and write and meditate and take this opportunity, Aries, to transform from the inside out. That's what it's going to feel like as you go through this eclipse journey in March, and I'm excited to talk about it all along the way with you. For you, this Mars energy is coming from your fourth house of home and inner world. It's extra family focused for you. It is extra focus about home and the way that you were raised and the communication and emotional representation that you have as a result of the place you were, the people that brought you into this world and your hometown. So what is your current home life like? Now that Mars is direct, this is an opportunity to have a really positive time away from the world, which is the new moon in Pisces. But this eternal passion for you is now lit up. Mars is your ruler and it's moving direct. You are feeling the fire again. You are feeling lit up on the inside. But interesting that this is still a new beginning of your seclusion from the rest of the world. So this is a phase where you might feel it continuing to go inward, which Mars has been doing with its retrograde for the past several months. If you've been feeling less motivated and less able to move forward, this is the moment where it all starts to change. But you have a nice balance with rest and home life lit up during this time. Uranus is in your second house and sending positive aspects to the nodes. So money matters are coming back into focus in some way during this new moon as well. Something unexpected could show up that makes you redo what you value and consider how you're spending your energy and what you value when it comes to what is unusual, which is Uranus. Overall, Aries, this is an energy where intuition, connection to all really has a lot to do with you and your inner world and how you're going to move forward with both of these energies and create something brand new for yourself and your persona. Venus will be the next thing to accentuate that journey for you. So check out that Venus video. And thank you so much for being here, liking, subscribing, commenting. If you want more information on how this affects your personal chart, my readings give you an opportunity to reflect on the positive outcomes of some of the struggles you've been through and what the purpose for them could have been holding. Also opportunities for the next few months or the year in the direction you're going, and that could be really helpful to see that in a chart. Check out the link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Hi Taurus. This again is lighting up your 11th house. There has been so much activity here for you when it comes to friends, community, networks, audience, groups out there in the world that you are a part of, people that are your allies and support you. You're embarking on a fated journey here in March, but this is a new beginning when it comes to those people in your life. You could be on a whole new trajectory for your communities and social connections. Mars from your third house could be more proactive communication, more short distance travel, more neighbors, maybe frustrations with neighbors have been brewing, and or cousins, siblings, close relatives. Road rage can happen with Mars in the third house during your local commute. But now that Mars is direct, there is something more proactive happening in this part of your life, that the conversations that you're having are going to benefit those communities and networks, whereas you may not have felt that as strongly over the last few months. This is an opportunity to take action that is good for you and good for everyone. The 11th house has to do with humanitarian efforts, and the 11th house is about our connections and our networks, but it is about what is good for the greater good. So conversations that you're having now are going to be better for everyone involved. Money matters and what you value could be coming into question. Jupiter in your second house squaring this moon is about just that what you value may not have been aligned with communities and networks that you are a part of. And that's coming into focus right now, and also the ingredient for change. You're going to align yourself with people that really matter. But a lot of this is fated coming in March because this is where the eclipses are taking place. But we still need to know that we align with certain opportunities when they do show up, even if they are fated. It's good to be clear on what we value, and then we nurture those connections and take advantage of those situations when they show up. Overall, Taurus, this is a time where you're feeling chattier with networks. This is a great time to get marketing material out there. If you have an audience or work networks, this is a time where you want to put in more effort and it's really going to pay off. Have those conversations, whether they are easy or challenging. This is the time that putting that energy in will deepen your connections and probably expand your community and networks overall. That could be part of this Jupiter square, that there could be an unexpected sudden shift in your community members. Regardless of how that happens, this is an opportunity for you to be more energetically connected with the people around you overall. When Saturn and Mercury are in this part of your chart, there's this more seriousness to the type of expression that you're using. More seriousness to your tone. Maybe the conversations you're having are more crucial in the long-term manifestations of whatever's going on. And Mercury in Pisces can want to talk about more spiritual things and things that are intangible. So maybe your networks are becoming more of a spiritually focused group. Maybe your networks constantly dissolve and regrow and dissolve and regrow. And maybe there's one or few significant people that are from your networks and community that are going to be playing a bigger role moving forward. Overall though, Taurus, this is an opportunity to work on your communication. It's very expression focused, and that there could be a fogginess in Pisces that makes it a bit more challenging to get those words out and communicate and maybe even understand other people. It can be more challenging or sometimes more interesting because it's those challenges in merging information. It's the the miscommunication that makes us work harder and maybe come up with more ideas and deepen and enrichen that process of discovering new ideas and coming up with new things and getting better at expressing them, especially when it comes to what really matters. So keep that in mind with all conversations, that this is about what you value, and it is about merging those values with other people. It isn't necessarily about forcing your values and disconnecting with friends because they don't share the same values, even though that's a possibility. But it is the merging and unconditional love that Pisces wants us to experience. And for you, that is happening with networks and friends. Thank you so much for being here, Taurus, watching, liking, commenting. It really means so much, and I will see you next time. Hi, Gemini. This is a new beginning in your 10th house, which is all about your reputation, your status, your career, how you're seen in the world. This is an area of life where you can get a lot of, you can be seen. This is an area of life where you can be seen for wonderful and valuable things that you are doing. Jupiter squaring this moon from your sign. Jupiter is always a protection energy. It is in your first house, so you are ultimately protected. A square from Jupiter can be some sudden shift with you and how you come across to the world, really healing and expanding. At the same time, Jupiter is the ruler of your 7th house, and that has to do with partnerships and connections. There could be some new beginnings starting there, or changes that are afoot with the eclipses in March. The square from Mars to Mercury and Saturn in this 10th house part of your chart as well. Mercury is your ruler, and with Saturn, you could be thinking more about the long term. You could be thinking about what stands the test of time when it comes to your reputation, status, and career. Your ruler is Mercury, but it also rules Virgo, your 4th house. And Saturn rules your 8th house of deep intimacy and bonds and support from others. So there are going to be topics of family and home and intimacy that are quite strong around this new moon, and your status and your reputation. This can sometimes be a balance of what you feel and experience on the inside and what you show the rest of the world on the outside. Jupiter in your sign in the 1st house can really expand you. You can go through growth and healing that if you have been afraid to be seen and more in the public eye, or take big leaps in career, this is a time where that could all change. And maybe relationships and deep bonds and your home life are part of the motivation of all of that. With your ruler conjoined Saturn, the other thing that is possible is that you'll be just feeling a bit more serious and heavy. And that'll pass. This is a very short transit. It'll pass shortly after this new moon. But I wanted to mention that because that's one of the reasons that I got into astrology, when there were moments of anger and frustration or depression and despondency that just felt like they came out of nowhere and didn't really apply to what I was going through. That can sometimes be the transit, and it does apply to what we're going through. That can definitely be the feeling of a Mercury and Saturn conjunction for you, but it's here to show us something. So do pay attention if you have some waves of feeling more serious or down. There might be some energy to process there and release with the eclipses, or the eclipses will just take care of it for you. The next full moon will be March 14th, and that is bound to clear a lot of energy. But right now, at the new moon, these are the buds of becoming aware of things, becoming aware of the things that you want to change and shift. And it could just be a brand new beginning with work and status and public image in some way. You have been going through the Mars retrograde in your 2nd house, which has to do with what you value. It has to do with your assets too, your possessions, your money, how your invested money grows, how your invested money doesn't grow, how you feed and nourish your body, and how you exchange energy with yourself and another person. But the 2nd house is more about yourself. How do you maintain the energy in your container and in your life? And that has to do with what we value. That has to do with how we nourish ourselves and our money. Mars retrograde here for the past several months has been creating situations that allow you to figure out what you really do value. And so you may have had some internal frustrations around your values aligning with other people, maybe specifically partners, since Jupiter is in your 1st house and Jupiter rules partnerships for you. So there is a connection to self and other at the time of this moon. However, it's been showing up. Just know that Mars direct now since February 23rd is that momentum in aligning with your values. And that could be why your career and status are changing. That could be why your visibility in the world is changing. For Gemini risings, this has a lot of career emphasis, but overall, having Pisces in your 10th house means that you're in the public eye, but you're not. You're hidden in some way. Your persona is hidden. Your true self is hidden. Geminis or Gemini risings will have this quality that they're not showy with being seen. And it always comes down to your individual chart. It can be different for everyone. But this is a generalization of Gemini energy. So as much as there's emphasis in Pisces all year for you. This could be about coming out of hiding, being more visible than you're used to, and because you might have more of a tendency to hide and hold back, there could be just testing periods of what you do want to show and expose. Maybe you are in a career of helping others do that too. That's a small possibility for some of you. Either way, this is about your visibility, Gemini. This is a big shift, and it is about to show you even more of the direction that you are about to head in. Thank you so much for being here, watching, liking. If you would like a personal reading to break down a fuller understanding of what's going on in your life and how this is unfolding in the Pisces area, check out my link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Hi, Cancer. This is a 9th house new moon for you. So all of this Pisces energy is a spiritual pilgrimage. Where are you headed when it comes to your beliefs and understandings of the world? That is about to go through some major shifts, maybe overseas. Maybe you're about to do more travel and connection with foreign people, foreign places, foreign concepts are all ruled here. This is definitely a wonderful time to focus on tools that expand your beliefs and expand how you view the world, whether that be meditation or conversations with other people or travel. The focus is Piscean, so time away from the world, time away from the regular day-to-day life is what could bring more insight and helpfulness to this part of your life. Cancer, you have had Mars in your part of the chart. This is extra frustrating sometimes. This is internal turmoil. This is feeling like you want to take action, but you can't, or you're going into that Cancerian, more protective, hiding in your shell mode. Now that Mars is direct, you are going to feel like you can share some of that outward, that you can release it from your body better. You can have the conversations that maybe have been challenging, especially if they have to do with your beliefs of the world and how they align with other people. For some Cancers out there, this could have to do with teaching or academia or higher learning of some kind. Frustrations are leading to more motivation now. You're feeling passionate and inspired to share your beliefs with the world, share your knowledge, and acquire more. There could be some faded energies that come in, and this is more to do with March when we have the eclipses, but it starts now, and you could be going through these faded experiences the time of this new moon, and these are going to bring people into your life that teach you something and expand your beliefs in ways that you haven't experienced before. And maybe you are that person for others. Jupiter in your 12th house has been expanding your psychic ability. Cancer is already a very intuitive sign, but with Jupiter in your 12th house in Gemini, the potential for channeling and opening up more communication for yourself that has a connection to all things, that is more divinely inspired, as they say, is a strong possibility. It could also mean more rest and forced retreat, but it's these moments that we get a chance to connect to unseen realms and the energy of the world more. This square from Jupiter in your 12th to the new moon, this could have to do with sudden news from overseas, sudden trips, changes with people that you're connecting with overseas, and sudden intuitive downloads and hits and experiences. Now you're going to have Mars in your favor, and you're going to feel like moving forward on any of those strong intuitions that you're getting. This is a great time to plan higher learning of any kind if you feel called to. Plant the seeds at least. And March is not an ideal time for taking action. We're going to want to let fate show us the way a little bit. This doesn't mean don't take action at all. It's just that when eclipses are ongoing, sometimes our actions can be futile, and what the bigger picture has in store is just going to play out. So see what happens in March. If you have big stuff already underway, then I'm sure that is part of this eclipse experience for you. But enjoy Mars direct and however this is unfolding in your 9th house of travels and spiritual quests and higher knowledge and teaching and education. Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you there. Thank you so much for being here, liking, subscribing, and I will see you next time. Hi, Leo. This is an 8th house new moon for you. So this is all about transformation. This is a big shift with potentially your connection to all things, your ability to transform in this part of your life, your ability to energetically tune in to significant other people. This is energy that can deepen and enrich your bonds. But keep in mind that it is through the energetics that happens. It is from being open to energetically connecting with another person, not just cognitively, which is the theme of this moon. This Jupiter square is coming from your 11th house. Jupiter rules your 5th house, which is creativity and self-expression. So your ability to creatively self-express with your friends and your community and your audience is heightened right now. And there could be some force and conflict and challenge that presents itself so that your connections are more authentic and more fun and more enjoyable. Saturn and Mercury here with the moon are the rulers of your 2nd house, your 11th house, your 6th house, and your 7th house. So these topics are all highlighted. This again brings more emphasis to your networks, connections, communities with the 11th house. But partnerships and work and your day-to-day activities and what you value are all being put into this transformational energy in the 8th house. These are big things to have transformed, Leo. This is energy where you can feel like you're being challenged to become completely different or handle situations in a different way than you have in the past, especially when it comes to significant other people in your life. This is where you have Pluto, and this is a longer 20-year transformation. But this is a moment in time, this new moon, that is going to be very impactful in transformation. And all of March with the eclipses, it is about what you value. It is about your financial exchange with others and what you believe you're worth and what other people meet you with as far as worth. Mars has been retrograding in your 12th house and is sending trine to Saturn and Mercury, and where this moon is. So this is the values and friends and daily work. But with Mars in the 12th house, sending positive energy to these parts of your life, this is about what has been beneath the surface. What emotions have you been not fully tapping into with Cancer in the 12th house? Likely over the last 2 months, you have been having experiences that have shown you that. It could have been creating frustration, but the goal was to look at and express and understand differently and move forward with better day-to-day habits and routines and connections with others that really align with your values. So consider what has been in your blind spot that's been showing up over the last little while, and this new moon is an opportunity to put that into action and see what unfolds for March. March is going to bring a lot of fated experience in this axis of worth and money and values and transformation for you. This can have to do in the 8th house with taxes and loans and payouts and other people's resources. Overall, this is a time where networks and community could be expanding, but it has to do with this transformational energy, and it has to do with resources and bonds and connection to others and how you receive support from other people. There's some energy in your 9th house as well. Venus is there and she's going to retrograde in that part of your chart. This is more about your beliefs and your mindset, and what you value around money again is going to show up. Venus is your 3rd house and your 10th house. So this has to do with career, communication, writing, expression, media, your visibility, how you get yourself out through that visibility, and the material and the marketing and the communication that you use. This retrograde period is a longer transit that is going to have you going back over your beliefs about that and how you view things. Check out my video about Venus retrograde. I will link that in the description below. It is going to give you a lot more information. But for now, this new moon is about intimacy. It is about connection, and it is about changing things and letting go of something from the past and bringing in something new so that these connections to all things can be that much better. Thank you so much for being here, Leo. If you would like a one-on-one reading or to understand more through the planners for the whole year and what energy you can take advantage of every 2 weeks, check out the description links below. I would love to see you there. Thank you for being here, liking, subscribing, and chatting with me in the comments. It is so much fun, and I will see you next time. Hi, Virgo. Something is brewing when it comes to partnerships for you. This could be significant people in any form in your life, romantic, business, very close friends, karmic relationships. On September 18th of 2024, we had a lunar eclipse in this part of your chart as well. So then you might have been closing something off. Maybe someone was coming into your life at that time. But this is when things start to really take shape and stir into action, especially because on March 14th, we have an eclipse in your sign. Then in September, it'll be back again to your 7th house. But overall, this is the Pisces Virgo eclipse that's being highlighted. And boy, do we have a lineup in Pisces for you in your 7th house. We have Mercury there, which is your ruler. We have Saturn there, which is your 5th house, your 6th house. So work and play and creativity and children. But Saturn is our disciplinary teacher. So you might be going through some restriction when it comes to how you manage your relationships and fun and work. And when Saturn moves on in the summer, there will be a bit of back and forth, but just know that you are finishing up this chapter and you will go back to feeling more expansive when it comes to your partnerships at least. Regardless of Saturn's business, we also have Neptune in the North Node. And that's the eclipse part, is the North Node. Neptune is in Pisces. This can really bring your dreams into reality with this combination of planets. Your ruler being here, well, they do say that when your ruler and the ruler of your 7th house come together, this is a new cycle in relationships, and that is going to happen in June. So there are a lot of hot points in the calendar this year for partnership for you. This is a great time to continue to visualize what you really want when it comes to your connections and other people. There is going to be a component of fated destiny when it comes to relationships around this time. But you can still, with Neptune here, this is prime time to visualize and dream things. Likely what you already have been dreaming of can come to fruition around this time. But I still think that Neptune energy is a good one. Neptune energy is an opportunity to get creative and dreamy. It can create a lack of clarity. So depending on what's going on with people coming and going in your life, you might not have the full picture, or people might be in your life that are not a good match, and you'll start to see some of those things come out and come to surface around this eclipse season. This moon is in lovely trine with Mars in your 11th house. So passion around friends and community. You could be feeling more motivation to network and get out there now that Mars is direct. And oh boy, you might have had some frustrations leading up to Mars stationing direct on February 23rd that probably connected to your networks and friends and the people in your community. It's a time where you could be reflecting on your motivations with groups of all kinds in your life. And now that we're getting into March and specifically this new moon, is it a great time to put what you have been thinking about when it comes to what is ideal for you and with friends and networks and partners into action. Of course, if there is action you want to take, wait 3 to 5 days after the new moon when it starts to gain light. Then you're in a better standing for things to grow. But anything that starts to bud or seeds are planted around the new moon will show fruition and continue to grow. So if we start things while the moon is waning and losing light, then typically those things will not gain momentum in the same way as when we start something with the gaining of light at a new moon. Jupiter in your 10th house is a square with this moon, and that could be the energy of coming on too strong in a crowd or in public. You might have some energy or feel less motivated. Maybe you're rethinking some of your spiritual beliefs and how you share that with the world. Maybe just your reputation is time to put it in a new direction, because Jupiter was retrograde, has been direct for a little while now, but now that it is moving forward, it means putting your reputation into different action. And that can feel wobbly. With the Jupiter square to this moon, it's really close to Mercury and Saturn. Jupiter in the square with this moon, it has just finished a square with Mercury. And Mercury was still not completely clear of its 15 degrees from the sun, where it is said to be a little bit burned and not in full function. So leading up to this moon, there could have been some heightened communication and related to work, related to reputation, really anything that has you reconsidering again how you want to present yourself in the world and what you want others to see. Mars was also retrograde before the 23rd, and as it was slowing down to go direct on the 23rd, Mars gets pretty wonky too. So the level of frustration and ability to say things that don't come out quite right was very high leading up to this moon. And I see this as a potential or just a turning point where we have a different level of awareness to how we want to operate and how we want to connect and communicate with significant people in our lives. Uranus could bring some unexpected shifts. It is in lovely aspect to the nodes right now, so these would be fated surprises that come your way, and they could be connected to partnership too. So there's a flavor of unexpected energy here, and hopefully a well-deserved surprise and gift from the universe after having a couple of struggling retrogrades with Mars and Jupiter at the end of last year and starting off 2025. Thank you so much for being here, Virgo. Thank you for liking, subscribing, chatting with me in the comments. It's so much fun. And if you would like a one-on-one Zoom reading with me or my new and full moon planners for the entire year, they are like these videos. So it gives you a sense of where to put your energy, what to watch out for. I originally designed them for business owners, so they have that in mind of great times to launch for the year. Those all will be linked in the description, and I will see you next time. Hi, Libra. Stacked 6th house for you. This is a brand new beginning in your health, your routines, your work, the people you work with, your employees if you have them. This is just what you get done on a day-to-day basis to make your life better, efficient, organized. structured. Something is going through a fated change here when it comes to this day-to-day grind, and likely one that is aligning with a higher vision and purpose because of Neptune and the North Node in Pisces in this part of your chart. Neptune is an energy of dreaming and fantasy and illusion sometimes. So if there has been fogginess with your health or work, this could be transformation points this year with eclipses coming up in this part of your on this axis, but just a stacked final run in Pisces as far as the amped up energy here. But for you, this does apply to your day to day. So perhaps meditation and energy work is becoming more a part of your health and your work routine to become more efficient, to become happier in a day to day way, and not let some of the stress and struggles that come up during the day or even with our health get us down and weigh us down so much. Saturn is here bringing that heaviness to the picture, and it has been for years at this point now, a couple of years. This heaviness could make you feel like molasses when it comes to productivity, getting work done, health and routines, and even meditation at times. But there's purpose in this slowdown with Saturn. Saturn wants us to be careful and calculated, and it's intentionally creates roadblocks and slowdowns and struggles and detours, because then we really get a feel for it. Then we really understand how to work our way out of it and what tools to implement, what tools really work. With detours, with driving, the longer we spend on the road, the better we get at navigating things sometimes. You have 12th house and 9th house rulers in the 6th house, so that too, to me, speaks a lot to higher learning, meditation, spirituality, rest, retreat, time away from the world that benefits your work and health somehow. Mars is in beautiful trine with this moon from your 10th house. This is your partnership ruler. So there could be some reaching of new levels and new stages with partnerships. This could be work or romantic. This could be a status change. So some people might be getting married under energy like this. There could be, because of Jupiter's square with this moon from the 9th house, there could be perspectives and ideas that come across that create friction, and that creates down the road or at some point some positive change in your health and work routines or your daily organization and the way that you manage your day-to-day life and work. So if that does come up, take that as an opportunity to expand your mindset and belief systems. That is ultimately what Jupiter wants to do in the 9th house, though you might be agitated by somebody else's beliefs, and that can be the ingredient that helps reconstruct your own. Unexpected money is a possibility, fated finances that are meant to come your way. That's from Uranus in your 8th house. And there's a trine and sextile to the nodes at this time. So a little flavor of unexpected surprises that you are welcoming. So let me know how that goes in the comments below. And Venus, she is in your 7th house. So that is an optimal time, again, for partners where you are going to be enjoying more fun, more pleasure. People are just going to have more of an appeal to you overall. So if there is stuff going on with partnerships, I do see some energy pointing to that. Venus is going to retrograde on March 1st, and that is when romantic partners from the past can come back, or we're just revising relationships and art and beauty in some way. Check out my Venus video in the description below if you want more on this Venus transit. I also get into the sign by sign there. But just remember that for March, it is not a great time to make drastic changes with beauty or romance. It is more of a time to rework things, plan, definitely make some small changes, But in April, when Venus goes direct, we are going to be looking at those topics differently. So money and beauty and fashion and dating could all take on a whole different look. So just be prepared for that. Things will be a little less clear with Venus topics for the month of March. This one looks overall positive for you. The sixth house can sometimes be a house. The sixth house can be a house of a lot of work, Libra, but having some redos in the sixth house and all this activity is ultimately going to clear up any energy where you feel like you are a slave to the system and a slave to life, and you're going to have an opportunity to step into a different energy there that suits you a lot better. Thank you so much for being here, liking, subscribing, watching, commenting below. I love hearing from you. And if you would like more new moon and full moon readings like this, I have a written out PDF for all of 2025. They are written for each sign, and only $29.99, as well as Zoom readings with me. I will link those in the description below. The planners can really help see ahead, and ideally they were made for planning businesses, but they can really just be used to get a head start on anything you want in the year. I'll see you next time. Hi, Scorpio. Hi, Scorpio. This is a fifth house new moon for you, and you have had so much energy here for quite some time. You're probably ready for a fresh start in some ways. Hopefully more fun, more creativity, maybe more children. This is really about being more you, more authentically you, expressing yourself more from an authentic place. There are always new levels of authenticity that we can reach. I think peeling back those layers never ends. And there's something about Mars in beautiful connection with a lovely trine from the moon to your ninth house that is putting maybe publishing, but higher learning. Your mindset is what is shifting the authenticity and the fun and the playfulness. Maybe changing some of your hobbies in a practical outlet or way. This would also be writing projects and anything else like that you have on the go. Some of you could be teaching art or teaching authentic self-expression. You may have been planning the material for a while, or there might have been some setbacks in this process with Mars retrograde from December, January, February 23rd station direct. So now you have that fire momentum moving forward in your ninth house, which is foreign places, foreign people, foreign concepts. So you could be traveling with the type of travel that would expand your mind and expand your belief systems. But this really is about what you believe in, how you view the world. What is this place all about? And where is your role in it? That is that fifth house connection in Pisces. Scorpio is a sign where you are very connected to the unseen realms. You have a way of just tapping in and seeing things at their energetic form and value. This could be an asset that you have to teach other people, but this is also a time where you might feel more confident in that ability of yourself and more free to express it rather than just keeping these perceptions and your ability to tune into yourself. As Saturn and Neptune travel into Aries this year and then travel back into Pisces, there is going to be some overlap with your sixth house of work and health and routines. So whatever it is that's going on now with creative self-expression very likely has a connection to work and health. And that is something that's going to unfold over the course of the year. Venus in your sixth house is making work and routine and health all that much more pleasurable. She will retrograde March 1st. If you want more information on that, check out my video in the description below on the Venus retrograde and the bigger transit, what that means and all the important dates. But for this video, just keep in mind that you are going to be going back over some of this fifth house creativity again in March. There's going to be some redos, maybe some reprocessing of stuff that was going on in January. maybe when it comes to fine-tuning the visuals and making things more beautiful, making things more of a pleasurable experience in some way. Money and assets and loans from other people could be part of this picture. There could be large sums of money either coming and going, and it could be in the form of loan and credit. There's something in your 8th house with Jupiter now that it's direct. 8th house also has to do with our psychological healing and transformation. So this doesn't always have to show up in the practical financial sense, but it can. And this is an energy of tension to your 5th house. So there's something about finances that could feel like it's holding you back or support from other people. Overall, Jupiter is here to heal and transform your 8th house. It's going to come with some friction of ideas sometimes, and maybe some embracing of dualities when Jupiter is in Gemini that is a bit more challenging to do. I think embracing the dualities is always a healing message when we have Jupiter in Gemini. There's this, this thing that, well, if it's one thing, how can it be the other? If it's black, well, how could it be white? If it's restful, how can it also be stressful at the same time? These are the things that Gemini can do really well, is understand where there's room for both. But that doesn't always show up in our creative self-expression. We might think that we are just one way, and maybe that's not as authentic as working with the dualities that we all embody. We are not just one representation of ourselves. We are sometimes a lot of conflicting representations. And we have to come to terms with that before other people do. We have to accept that and embrace it and not try to deny one piece or the other to fit into the crowd. And then other people will too. So if you are showing art, or you're showing more vulnerable parts of yourself, or you are changing what is fun, there is an element of embracing things that don't, and bringing them together that don't initially seem to get along. And you're still dealing with the curveballs with partnerships, maybe from another person that is keeping you on your toes. In this time, a beautiful trine and sextile to the nodes from Uranus. So that's a lovely surprise. And it could be that lovely surprise that is part of you integrating the energy at the time of this new moon and really putting into motion whatever authentic self-expression means to you, whatever is the most fun, the most creative, and really just aligned with whoever comes out at that time when it comes to the different parts of yourself, embracing it all and letting them all out to play. Thank you so much for being here, Scorpio. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting below. I absolutely love hearing from you. And if you would like to book a reading with me or a new moon and full moon PDF for your sign for the whole year, check out the links below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Sag. Big new changes coming with home, and I think that you're probably feeling ready for it. These are fated changes with home and career that are coming up in the Pisces and Virgo axis for you. This new moon is going to be a fresh start after a closure that maybe happened in September of 2024. September 18th of 2024, we had an eclipse in Pisces, and it was a lunar eclipse. This could have ended something important when it comes to your internal world, the way that you were raised by your family, and those innate qualities that you bring from that experience to your life. This could be something to do with an actual home. Regardless of what played out or whether this moon is related or not, there is now a new beginning in this part of your life. On March 14th, we'll have a lunar eclipse in your 10th house that will also activate your 4th house. So there's just a lot of Pisces dreamlike activity happening here, as well as the conglomeration of planets that are right now in Pisces. These planets are also finishing up what has been a longer transit with Saturn and Neptune in this part of your chart. And this wrapping up of these planets might have come with some tough lessons with home and inner world. There's going to be a bit of a revisit towards the end, but this is this is it. This year we're wrapping it up, and 2026 is going to feel completely different when it comes to your home life. I really can't emphasize that enough. If you want to hear more about that transit, check out the video with our MOSHE WOLFE and our conversation about this energetic impact of Neptune, specifically in Aries. But I think you're going to be happy to see Saturn move on. Saturn and Neptune creates illusion sometimes, a disconnection, a bit of fogginess. Saturn slows things down and wants discipline and really puts the pressure on making sure that we are doing things right and changing the foundation of your life. The fourth house is your foundation. It is at the bottom of your chart. It is the core of who you are. That is no light thing to go through, Sag. So I'm happy for you to see you graduate from some of this energy and some nice fated action coming in, hopefully. Jupiter in your partnership sector right now is an energy of tension but expansion when it comes to partners. There's something about your core beliefs in who you are and the energy as an individual that might be at odds with somebody else's beliefs. This new moon is a moment to try to merge more or choose to be different, but having those conversations of figuring out a way to accept what's going on in a situation with a significant other person. Whether we can come to mutual agreements, sometimes we can't, and our values are just different. But we need to get comfortable with that in some way and still find a way forward, especially if these are people that are going to be in your life for quite some time. Mars has been retrograde and is now direct as of February 23rd. Yay! In your 8th house. So other people's resources, support from other people, your own psychological transformation. This is death and birth and rebirth. This is Pluto house. This is Scorpio. This is the house of purging. But you have Cancer here. So this is a type of energy where a lot of Sagittarians can feel emotionally reserved in connections, or that there's just, you might have felt lately that there has just been a lot of emotion under the surface and getting stirred up, and that you have been internalizing and processing how to move forward in your deep connections, how to move forward with your own psyche. Well, now you're going to start to feel that momentum now that Mars is moving forward and gaining power again. It can be quite yucky to, especially the week that we had before leading up to this new moon, where Mars was struggling to station and then gain forward momentum again. At the end of a transit, I always find the last little bit of a transit, things heighten. It's like as the transit's wrapping up, it wants to make sure that there's no stone unturned that we were meant to look at and evaluate or feel inside of us in the case of the 8th house and move through. And Cancer is watery, and there could have been a lot of crying and emotion with Mars in Cancer, especially in the 8th house. Now you are probably a different person. This is a deeply transformative energy, and you're about to feel that shift in your home life. Unexpected surprises that are lovely, that are fated and destined, can come from Uranus in your 6th house, hitting the nodes of your 4th and 10th. So some people might have to change their routines for work. Maybe there's some move that's happening for work or relocation. Maybe your career status is changing. These are all possibilities, but the energy is really because you have been working hard to transform whatever it is that's going on at an emotional and mental level. And now you get to put that internal world into action and see what you're ready to create this year. Venus is in your 5th house, so this is wonderful energy to be more playful, have fun, go out and date. She will retrograde March 1st, though, which is coming up soon, and then you can find that fun and dating from the past comes back around. There are some redos to do there. Check out my Venus video if you would like to hear more about that transit. It is until middle of April. until May before it fully gains momentum. So keep that in mind. Do have a little bit of fun out there, Sag. You are the sign of fun. And with some of this energy going on, you might have forgotten what fun felt like. So these are moments that you're going to remember again what that feels like. Hopefully light up your inner world with that opportunity of fun once again as you move forward with this new moon in your 4th house. With Mercury and Saturn in your 4th house too, you could find that communication is being challenged. This also will start to shift as Venus gets further away from the sun. And as Mercury gets further away from the sun, there will be better communication just flowing more naturally again. It's been quite some time that Mercury's been challenged with Mars retrograde. Frustration and communication has not been as easy flowing, which is another piece we have to look forward to, especially as that moves on into your 5th house too. Let this new moon be a beginning for fun if you can, Sag, and I hope whatever changes are on the forefront for home and inner world are going really well for you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting in the comments below. It means so much. If you would like to know more about the year ahead, I have PDFs for all of 2025 for new moons and full moons for your sign. And as always, Zoom link in the description below for a one-on-one astrology reading with me. I'll see you next time. Hi, Capricorn. This is a brand new beginning in your 3rd house. This means that communication, writing, media, your thoughts, this is your day-to-day mindset. This is the mind that gets tasks done and how you think about those tasks, how you feel about those tasks. This is the avenue of expression. So this is the vocabulary you use, the tone. The tone is more the 2nd house, but expression. And there is energy behind expression. So I would put tone in here too. In a practical sense, this house can cover neighbors, siblings, close relatives, short distance travel, vehicles, commutes. There has been a lot of energy in this part of your chart for quite some time, and this new moon is an expression of a step up and a step into everything that you've been working on. And regardless of how that's showing up in each of your individual lives, the essence of expression is behind it. And maybe in some of those areas of life that I mentioned, but you're reaching a new level here. And maybe you're planting the seeds for a writing project or getting involved in media in some way for yourself or for others. Any communication project, really. With Saturn and Mercury here, the North Node has been here, Neptune. Saturn and Mercury, though, together, this has a serious tone of communication. This can really stand the test of time. There might be something that comes into your life right now or soon, because we do have eclipses coming up on this axis, which is going to be for you in March, the 3rd house and the 9th house. So like I mentioned, all of these topics of the 3rd house that we're talking about today with the new moon. But the 9th house is the higher meaning of things. It is learning and education, but it is institutions that are considered to be of higher learning. And it is teachers, gurus. It is travel for the sake of expanding your mind and understanding different ways of living and being. So I just want to get clear on the 3rd and 9th axis, because there's going to be a lot coming up on that. The 3rd is the practical day-to-day stuff. It's the avenue of expression. The 9th is more of the higher perception, the eagle-eye view of what this world is all about. The eclipses coming in March are going to activate the 9th house and the 3rd house. This new beginning is more about what you do on the day-to-day way to get maybe to some of these more 9th house ideas and activities. Saturn and Mercury here, the communication is going to be very practical and clear and to the point. There's going to be purpose. There is going to be a sense of doing the slow grind to really nail it down, lock it in, get really good before you move forward. Saturn is a foundational planet for us. And Mercury, again, is the third house, those thoughts and communication and the way that we think about things and articulate. So we put those two together, and the North Node, which is very fated, and Neptune, which is very creative. So for you, Capricorn, I think this is a great package, that you have all this focus on expression, but it's creative, it's disciplined and standing the test of time with Saturn there. You might even feel frustrated with some of the lessons that Saturn is trying to teach you, in that communication might not be coming easily, or maybe it has not been coming easily for the past 2 years. This new moon could be one of those moments where you start to see everything that you've been teaching yourself about communication come into flow and really start to work for you and pay off. And just to tie in the 9th house again, because so much of that is going to be coming up with eclipses. On March 14th, we have a full moon in Virgo, and that's your 9th house. So just as a little preview, that is going to be a time when the communication comes in handy to talk about the bigger picture. We cannot expand our belief systems and really grow and evolve as beings unless the communication is there to share ideas, understand concepts in a different way, and gather our knowledge. Jupiter is the ruler of the 9th house by classical position, and it is about understanding the world through the eyes of other people. It is about being curious. It is about expanding through knowledge. So you are locking in a very important piece at the time of this new moon, and it looks like a significant partner is helping you out. That's where Mars is right now, and it is in trine with Mercury and Saturn. So it's a significant person with Mars retrograde, you have been experiencing some frustration potentially in partnerships, some inability to make progress and move forward in significant partnerships. This could be work, romantic, friends, karmic. Now that Mars is direct since February 23rd, this new moon again is a kickoff moment where you're more motivated to have those conversations. Looks like maybe serious conversations, but they get you somewhere and they get you to where you want to be. Jupiter in your 6th house could mean that there's a lot to do on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot in work, maybe for your employees, maybe health routines, habits that need to be adjusted and fine-tuned for more optimal function in the 6th house. That's how we get things done in this world, but it is based on our habits, which is how we get things done. Jupiter's square to this moon has a conversation of how is work and focus on habits and routines and health, how is that affecting your communication and vice versa? Maybe there's just more short distance travel to deal with work. Maybe there is short distance travel to deal with health routines and appointments. It could be quite normal stuff, but this stuff, it's a big energy that's playing out right now. It's going to make your motivation to work on communication and change communication that much higher. It could have to do with close community like neighborhoods or cousins and siblings and close relatives, or cars and transportation. But something is going to be potentially creating more friction there with the goal of healing something. And there are just so many possibilities when it comes to that stuff. But think about your routines. This is a great time to make adjustments with health matters and how you get things done, what your organization is like, how employee management is going if you have that. If this is writing tasks, it could be how you organize your day to get things done. You let me know how this is going for you, Capricorn. I love hearing from you in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here, liking, subscribing. If you would like an astrology reading with me or my 2025 PDFs of all the new and full moons with a description, just like these videos for your sign, so you can look ahead for the whole year and make some plans on when to push forward and when not to. I will link both of those in the description below. See you next time. Hi Aquarius. This is the second house new moon for you. So this is big fated change when it comes to your assets, possessions, what you value, your money, your voice, the foods that you eat, and the way that you nourish and take care of your body. That is why the second house covers assets, possessions, and this can be clothing too. This new moon is going to bring a new beginning in this part of your life. This is something you have been working on for quite some time with Saturn here for a couple of years now. So this is discipline and hard work around how you manage your energy. That is another thing with the second house, that all of those things that I just mentioned when it comes to money and possessions and values, self-worth is covered here, and the energy exchange that we embody and we exchange with others. So this is a really important house for everything else in the chart, because this is, from my perspective, where we manage the energy that feeds the rest of our life. If we sacrifice ourselves and our money and our energy and our worth, or we sacrifice our things and our belongings, or we're involved in the wrong events and communities because they don't align with what we value, well, life just isn't going to give back in the same way. And then that brings me to the 8th house on the other side. So eclipses are coming up. This is going to be the Virgo and Pisces axis, which for you is the 2nd and 8th house. The 8th house is other people's resources, how their energy and our energy merges together. So that leads to intimacy and deep bonds. But the depth of the bond is energy. It is how you meet and merge at an energetic level. So having eclipses on this axis and this new moon, you are about to go through fated changes when it comes to how you operate in this way. This could bring more money to you, or money can go. Sources of income and ways of investing, but don't consider it a loss even if something does leave. It wasn't quite right, and it's going to lead you down the path of figuring out how to have more energy and how to have more of what you want, more of what you value, more abundance, and maybe treating your body better as well. Nourishing your body with the right foods is a big part of having the right energy and conserving the right energy, creating the right energy for yourself. And with Saturn here, you could have been working on a lot of discipline. Mercury here too is the ruler of your 5th and your 8th house. So creativity and other people's resources supporting you somehow is what is going to add to the picture in some fated way. Neptune is here too, so you might have been developing an intuitive sense about these things and maybe aligning more with an energetic vibration that is a match for what you want to attract. Jupiter in your 5th house Jupiter is also lighting up your 5th house, which is sending a square to this moon, and that is amplifying the importance of this moon in a lot of ways and the connection to your creative self-expression. The more we work on our self-worth, the more we feel aligned with our creative self-expression, the more we feel free to be authentic and release that out into the world. But I'm talking to an Aquarius here, so you know that more than most. Doesn't mean that there is not still a next level and another place to go and another way to expand in that self-expression even more. Everyone has grown up in a world where some of that is dampened for the sake of productivity, getting along with others, conforming to a platform and a set of rules or way of doing things. This is when you could come up against some friction with other people when it comes to values, or maybe even your own and creative projects in some way. For some of you, if you have children, children are also covered in the 5th house. It could be where there is some conflict of values with what you are choosing to do with your children and what they need, and maybe whoever else is involved in that decision making. Mars in your 6th house is finally direct, and so day-to-day stuff, employees, your health routines and habits in general, if these have been feeling like you're regressing and not working in ways that are optimal, or you've been trying and it feels like you're walking through water up to your neck, all of that resistance, well, that's changed now. Mars is in favorable connection to Saturn and Mercury, which means that what you put into motion right now is going to stand the test of time when it comes to investments and money and values. Maybe possessions as well. It might require some conversations about what you need and what you value, and it's good to be as practical and logical in those conversations as possible. With Saturn is here looking for a bit more of that grounded communication. This is fated. This is something that is connected with the North Node come eclipse season, especially next spring. But this is where the seeds are planted, and if you don't see things going exactly the way you want with what you value and money and abundance, that will start to shift into next year. But watch for what's happening now, because this is an important step in figuring out your day-to-day life, your habits, your routines, and making sure they align with your values. That's what is going to give you that longevity in your assets and abundance and your energy levels. It's a lot easier to have energy and motivation for the things that we're doing when it's in alignment with our creative desires and who we really are. So get clear on who you are and how you want that energy to express out into the world. Definitely taking a lot of care of your body in whichever way that you can. Venus is retrograde as of March 1st. Check out my video in the description below for that one. But that's really important for second house stuff with you in this moon, because Venus is the traditional ruler of the second house as the ruler of Taurus. So that is what the second house is all about: money and beauty and expression through Venusian things like clothing and singing, the tone of our voice. So check out that video, because that will give you more clues as to the dates and things to follow, because this new moon looks like a new moon where you could really upgrade your clothes and move money around. But there are a lot of cautionary dates in my Venus retrograde video, so check that one out for some guidance for the next couple of months. After April 15th, you're clear to make more money moves, although I would need to double check Mercury retrograde transits, so check that. But this is about making the plans. So enjoy this time, Aquarius. Thank you so much for being here. If you would like to go over some of this stuff on a Zoom call with me, I will link that in the description below, as well as my PDFs for new moon and full moons, all of 2025 for your sign. They are a written description, just like these videos, of what to expect, what to watch out for, when the green light to go ahead and when to hold back and just plan. Those will also be in the description below. And I will see you next time. Pisces, this is your new moon. How exciting. This is a brand new you, or at least the seeds and planning and the thoughts of what you want to move into over the next couple of years. But really, fate is going to be here, activating your 1st and 7th house of self and partners, significant people in your life, and really holding on to the core of who you are at all times, so that you are aligning with the people that really matter to you. And at the same time, you're not losing energy to people that are trying to take from you, or that the energetic boundaries just aren't that clear. Jupiter is in your 4th house, Mars is in your 5th house. Jupiter is expanding your home and inner world and has been doing a lot of healing work there. So you might have felt uncomfortable stuff come up over the last several months while Jupiter was retrograde. Jupiter has been direct for a while now, and it's making forward progress. So you might feel like some of that stuff is healing. At this time, Jupiter is squaring the moon, amplifying this energy in you more. And so there's something to do with home or your inner world and the friction between the more concrete energy of yourself that you've been working on. Or maybe how you present yourself. The 1st house is about how other people see you, the tools that you have to navigate this world with, the energy that you lead with. Mercury and Saturn in trine with Mars in your 5th house is really about the passion that you have for joy and play and authentic expression, creativity, maybe your children if you have them. This is beautiful energy that now that Mars is moving forward, you can have momentum in 5th house topics of creative self-expression and children and play and redefine the passion that you have around what brings fun into your life, what really aligns with who you are. With that trine to Saturn and Mercury, this is potentially the communication that you need to, the communication that you can use to make sure that these things happen with friends or specifically significant people in your life, I think, or people that you live with, based on the energy that's being highlighted. Mercury is the ruler of your 4th house and your 7th house, so that brings more attention to that part of your life, as well as Saturn ruling your 11th and your 12th. So that's networks and community, faraway places, intuition with the 12th house. There could be a lot of varieties of people, but you might feel a little pulled in multiple directions and forced to align or think about what really matters to you when it comes to pleasure and what really is authentic for you. It's easy to go along with our partners and the people that we're closest to in our home, or people that reflect a similarity to the environment that we grew up in, just choosing what's familiar or going along with the crowd and the community without thinking too much what really truly matters to us. Because when other people are having fun, it's a lot of fun. And that's one of the things that Pisces energy really enjoys, is being the observer and being able to see and witness the energy and the beauty in that in other people. But this is a time, Pisces, when you get to ask, what about you? And maybe with children, that's very similar too, that with children, there's a lot of just doing what they need and enjoying what they enjoy. And that's part of being a parent or being in a child's life. But this is a moment of bringing authenticity to your experience in life and trying to blend it with these other important groups around you or in your life. These eclipses in the 1st house and 7th house for you, Pisces, will be about balancing self and other. So this journey carries on. In the summer, we are also going to experience Saturn and Neptune moving into your 2nd house, and I'm going to talk about that a lot more as we get closer to those months. That is going to take some of the work off of you and put it into taking care of your body and your energy and your assets and the energy that you exchange with other people. So in some ways, similar on that level. But for this one, this is a moment where you get to be a lot more you, and something is changing that is bringing that to your attention, as it does every year of your birthday month. So happy birthday to all the Pisces out there. Thank you so much for being here, liking, watching, subscribing, chatting with me in the comments, my absolute favorite. And if you would like a Zoom reading or a PDF for your sign with all the new moons and full moons of the year and a little description, as well as Mercury energy detailed of how to manage it every month, check out the links in the description below, and I'll see you next time.